welcome back to Harbor Discussions, everybody. We are not in the studio, as you can see. I'm here at Studio 14 in Baltimore, Maryland, where the band Tripper practices, as well as lots of other bands in the local area. Do y'all want to introduce yourself by your names and your role in the band for everybody?
Okay. I'm Alex. I do vocals.
I'm Michael. I play drums.
I'm Brian. I play guitar.
I'm Austin. I play bass.
All right, and for anybody wondering why we're in my car right now, I did bring my portable setup, but for some reason the app that I would use doesn't want to work at all. So we're improvising here. Now, are all of you from this Baltimore area?
Yeah, I am.
I'm not originally, but I've been here for like a long time.
Same
Okay.
here.
I'm from out in Frederick,
Gotcha.
Maryland.
How would you describe, I guess, the areas that you grew up in, just what it was like growing up here from your perspective?
Well, I grew up in the suburbs. My parents were immigrants. I don't know. It was fine. I went to Perry Hall High School, had a good art department, and I played outside a lot.
Gotcha.
I grew up in Atlanta. I moved here in 2006 for college, and it was a lot better than Atlanta, so I stayed.
Okay.
And I grew up in the Frederick area, and it was interesting. It was very different from Baltimore. I moved out here in 2014 and have stayed since.
Yeah, and I originally came from Germantown and then moved to a little town called Smithsburg, Maryland in about 2002, then moved to Frederick in 2019.
Okay. So talk about how y'all met officially and then formed the band.
Do you want to tell the story?
Okay.
You can tell.
Yeah. So I used to work with Michael's roommate, and we were at a Holy for Holy show seeing Jive Bomb and Spaced, and Michael mentioned how he wanted to put a hardcore band together. I took like a week or two to think about it, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And we started writing in August of 2022, and we brought in Austin in November around Thanksgiving time. Austin and I have known each other for what, like 2008, 2009?
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
unofficially. And brought him in, and then you knew Alex from before any of us.
Alex, I had met Alex through a friend. I'd hired her to make some art for a project I was working on. And when I posted about looking to start a band, she responded and was like, "Who is this for?" I was like, "Oh, it's for me." And so and the whole time that Brian and I had been talking and playing together for like months, Alex was kind of on the sidelines, and it was just like, let us get some stuff written and then we can bring you in. So Alex and I have been talking about this for,
Since last summer.
yeah,
Since
last
the
summer.
beginning of last summer, I guess.
yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk about the shows that y'all have been able to play so far. The first one was at Holy for Holies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about what the first show was like. Any kind of nervous feelings at all?
Oh my god. I was like nauseous. Yeah.
that's all you.
Alex has not fronted a band before.
I have,
Oh, excuse me.
but it's been a very long time. But yeah, I was just really nervous because I don't know. It's been a long time since I never like played music, I guess, on a more serious level, and so this is my first real band, and I was just nervous to be in front of a lot of people. And
Makes sense.
being visible is very anxiety inducing. But yeah, it was a lot of fun in the aftermath. I had a great time, and the energy was good. The turnout was great. People found out about it through various ways. I had people come up to me saying they just saw the post on Reddit.
Wow.
Saw the flyer on Reddit, and they were like, dude, this was sick. We didn't know what to expect. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We were the first band to play, and it was also Trash Diva's first night playing
Okay.
as well.
Cool,
And then
cool.
what was the other band?
Porcelain Vivisection?
Yeah, Porcelain.
They're
Vivisection.
like a crazy
Experimental.
like jazz metal like bizarreness.
They wore sea monster masks.
It was really cool.
And chest harnesses.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like when people, do more than just come on stage. They make like act out of it, stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they were like feeding people in the crowd like pizza and stuff like that.
It's pretty good.
It was awesome.
What other bands have y'all been in aside from Tripper?
I've been in a bunch of bands in Baltimore since for like 11 years. So the last band I was in was called Leisure Sports, more like a indie rock band. But we did it right for ourselves in Baltimore. I feel like people got to know us, and so that ended right around the time we kind of started getting going. I played in an old hardcore band called Faults, but the band that most people probably know in Baltimore is I was the touring drummer for Warren Women for like a year.
Okay.
I had played in a couple like metalcore bands in like 2007, 2008 when it was like really first super popular with Darker Than the Ocean. And then in my last career, I played in just like a teacher band where we played a whole bunch of like covers and everything. So it was very different from what we're currently playing right now.
And the last band that I was in was a band out in Hagerstown, Frederick area. Like math, we always described it as like remedial math rock.
Okay.
But yeah, we were called Flailing.
All right, cool. The other shows, I saw like you did a weekend where it was Atlas Brewworks and Joe Squared.
Mm-hmm.
So just talk about those shows that you did.
The Joe Squared show, Ethan from Jive Bomb booked that and was kind enough to let us play it. It was with two bands from Ohio and Grudge from here, and that was really fun. And then the MS Paint show was in DC at Brewworks, and that was very cool because it was like our third show. It was like, we're opening for MS Paint on our third show. This is crazy. And they were the nicest people in
so
the world.
nice.
Like, I got there early because they're using my drum set, and they like came up to me and were just talking to me for like 30, 45 minutes. And
Nice.
they're the sweetest people.
Hell yeah. And the Metro Gallery?
Yeah, we opened for Islet, Gasket, and Loma Prieta, and I was sort of freaking out about that.
I had never heard of Loma Prieta, and when
Neither
I saw
have
the
I.
show announced, I was like, hey guys, maybe this will be a cool show to get on. And Alex was like, oh my god! I was like, I don't know what this band is.
Yeah, I was kind of freaking out too.
I was
when you
so-
first mentioned it, not when we played the show.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, this is literally what our fourth, fifth show. What the fuck? I was just not ready for that. I mean, but we were ready for it. But
Alex introduced me to the band Punch, and like her like sample recording for like when I was like, can you like send me just a sample? Like it was to a Punch song, and two of the members from Loma Prieta are in Punch. Is that right?
in Loma.
Sorry, Loma Prieta. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I know the drummer is, but I don't remember which one of the other members is. I think it might just be the drummer, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was really stoked about getting booked on that lineup. It was just a really good lineup overall, and
Yeah.
Loma Prieta rules.
Yeah, all those bands were great.
And
Islet.
Josh was
sick.
also just
Yeah.
super nice to hang out with at the merch table.
Nice. Awesome.
Matt from Islet, he recorded Gasket's whole EP and he mixed ours, so it was cool that like both of our bands were playing with Islet.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then how I discovered y'all was your most recent show at the Auto Bar.
Yeah.
And so there was this real badass kid at the show.
Oh yeah.
And I remember when I was standing outside, y'all came out to like talk to people and stuff like that. And he had been at prior shows,
Yeah,
right?
he was actually at our Joe Squared show.
Yep.
I gotcha. And for people who don't know, that we're just talking about, a little kid who comes with his dad and stuff like that. And
He has
he
a mohawk.
yeah, and he gets around and he, dances and stuff like that. It's just really cool.
He throws down. He really throws down.
That was my first time actually having a conversation with him and his dad. His name is Harry,
Yeah.
and his dad's name is Carl. And he just goes the hardest at every show. At the Joe Squared show, I saw him doing like push-ups in between sets. And
I did not see that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He's been when I talked to them, he said he's been playing drums, and I'm like, you're gonna be like the next what's the Sammy from Drain? He's gonna be like the next version of that, where it's just like he's gonna kill on drums and he's gonna be an amazing front person.
Yeah.
Like he just has so much energy.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool to see kids, you know, especially nowadays, that are still getting into that stuff. Because I feel like sometimes you feel like that you don't see it as much nowadays. You know what I mean? Less kids are getting raised on like all the old classic rock stuff from the '80s,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You're just seeing it less and less. So it's really cool to see when, you know,
Yeah.
little kids being raised right. How was it playing the Autobar? Did y'all have fun?
Yeah, that was a fun show.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
Pretty decent turnout for, you know,
A floor show at
yeah,
Autobar.
floor
yeah.
show.
Yeah, weeknight
Had
stuff like
fun.
that. Yeah.
I feel like our set was really tight that night as well.
Definitely. I think everyone that played that night was really cool. It was my
Yeah.
first time seeing all of them, so
Oh,
I was
really?
very, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I was very
Shout
impressed.
Out to Doubt, shout out to Scramble,
Yep.
shout out to Alienator.
Hell
Doubt
yeah.
was phenomenal. It was my first time seeing them.
Oh,
They
nice.
absolutely
Me as well.
killed
Hell
it.
yeah. So out of all the spots that you've played, what's been your favorite so far? Doesn't have to be necessarily because of the spot, just it could be the whole environment of that show.
Probably Holy for Holies, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I used to, you know, hang out at Frijoles and Fraser's for years before the pandemic hit, and it just felt like a second home when we played the show, and it was really easygoing to play there. It was just second nature almost.
Gotcha. So now we'll kind of talk about the music. Who writes the lyrics for Tripper?
That's me.
Figured so.
Yeah.
So the debut track, Pressed, which is the only song out right now, what is that about?
I think it's mostly about like mental health and not to get too heavy, but
Yeah,
like,
of course.
CPTSD recovery and kind of trusting yourself again after like heavy shit.
Yeah, I was listening, and there's a line in there about like not wanting to mitigate, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was. I like to look into the lyrics and stuff when I
Yeah.
can, when they're available
For
and
sure.
stuff. It's only on Bandcamp right now, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when can we expect the rest of the demo, and or more music, and like when will it be on other platforms?
Are we?
We are we're hoping before the end of the year to get an EP out. That is the current plan. We will see if that is what happens.
Gotcha. Can you go into like some of the other songs that you play and maybe what they're about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, most of the stuff that I've written is like mental health related or getting through shit. I think it's just about more like empowerment and I think reflecting on past experiences. One song is mostly just about crying. It sounds so lame, but like it's I mean, that's like at least what the lyrics are centered around, but it's just about processing things, and that's what I think a lot of like heavy music can tend to be about.
Definitely.
A lot
yeah.
of trauma dumping.
That's what I think. That's what the writing process is in
Right.
general.
Yeah, but I try to look at it as like a positive approach rather than being like, oh, these are all of my problems and like feel bad for me. It's kind of more like I want to be able to reflect on this stuff and not be like afraid to feel it or afraid to talk about it or whatever. And yeah, like one song is about like overcoming stuff through like yoga. It sounds fucking lame like saying it out loud, but
Well,
like
For people who are not into yoga, it sounds lame. But
yeah, but like you can't tell really. I guess it's not as straightforward, but it is like kind of like processing things through being grounded in your body, and like that's essentially what it's about. But for me specifically, that's yeah.
I think during the recording, when I could first hear you really do the vocals, I was like, is this song about yoga?
Yeah, I definitely called it out.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool though. Have you heard of the guy who does heavy? His whole like content is based around heavy metal and yoga, stage dive yoga. I think.
I follow him. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the singer of End It did a video with him.
Oh,
So
nice. That's
I
cool.
saw it and I was like, yo, this is cool because I go to a spa that does like stretch therapy stuff like that. And
I'm actually becoming a stretch therapist.
oh, that's cool as hell.
And I teach yoga. So,
Nice, yeah. So like I kind of been hearing about stuff like that, and when I saw what he does, I was like, oh,
Right.
that's cool as hell.
It's along those lines, yeah.
Nice. And it was recorded at your practice space by Austin. Would that be here at the
Yeah,
side?
yeah.
Okay, cool. So going into practicing here at Studio 14, how'd you hear about this space?
So I share this was the space I had with my old band Leisure Sport. We had a space down by Auto Bar. We got, I think, shut down by the city for code violations. Then we were briefly in another spot for a few months, and then it's this and Orion Studios. Like I don't think there may be one other spot. So it's kind of slim pickings, but it's a good spot. There's air conditioning. It's the walls are padded at least.
Yeah, when I was
So
gonna
it's an
say
improvement.
too, like with the gated entrance and stuff like that, that's got to be really awesome for the bands because you know I imagine especially in some places around here you kind of feel like weird leaving all your equipment and stuff in cars so it's I like the fact that you said there's a gate and stuff like I was like, oh cool, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't got to worry about like parking on the street and stuff like that, and it's quick access. What made you choose it as your practice space other than slim pickings? Because I guess you could have gone to other spots.
Orion Studios, I think, is a little more out of the way, and I don't know if they had openings. And then the other spot I looked at was like, I think in a too sketchy area where it was like, I don't want to load out my equipment here. I wouldn't feel 100% comfortable. And our old bandmate's like also a tiny lady. Was like, I don't want you loading your equipment out here at night.
Right, yeah, definitely.
There's a spot like that too.
So I had a question about like how long you've been practicing here. So it's basically been the whole time that you've been a band.
Yeah.
Have you practiced anywhere else, or has it just been here?
Just here.
It's here.
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha. I wanted you to go over the pros and cons of practicing in a professional place like this versus practicing at home. And do you guys find that you're able to focus better, work more efficiently because you're kind of under the pressures of being in a more professional studio, I guess?
I live in a 12-foot wide row house, so like I have to have somewhere to put my drums.
Right.
Yeah, I've had a practice space of one sort of another for 10 plus years, so it's really like I'm used to just kind of going to the space to play drums.
I think
Gotcha.
it's good having like a dedicated space. That way you can kind of more easily get into the mindset.
And with my house, I actually have all of my other equipment set up as like almost like a practice space in my like man cave where I do a lot of like just playing on my own, playing to other people's stuff, and where I tend to like write a lot of songs and riffs for the band as well too. It's just different mindset. I'm just by myself. There's no other distractions, no other people to have to like worry about, or playing a riff that Michael doesn't like and he has to make a face to tell me he doesn't like it. So it's
I'll use my voice.
I know you use your voice. And then we wrote a couple of stuff here at the space as well too, when we were like both kind of in the like pocket and in the groove and the like good mindset. But it's been a little bit of both for me.
Yeah, and I definitely think the way that we structure our practices, basically usually we come here, we do play for about 2 hours, and that's all we really do, except,
Right.
talk a little bit. But I've been in other bands where, we get together and practice all day, but half the day might be just screwing around or playing pool
Yeah.
or something,
I gotta say, yeah, it was a pretty productive practice from what I saw. I've seen practices, not even really on like serious levels, but I've seen how some people practice, and it's like not tight at all. It's really just like a lot of arguing, stuff like that.
God.
So yeah, definitely, it was cool to see like what tight practicing looks like and everything.
Nice.
And then what was the recording process like for the demo?
So for the demo, I just brought I had, you know, a Samson drum mic pack, some SM57s, some AT 2020s, Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, and their Octo Pre as well. We brought it in there. Michael pretty much just did the drums in like 3 or 4 takes.
Yeah, it was
He
very
had been
quick.
practicing for like 2 weeks, and you know, he's kind of self-described as in the driver's seat for all the songs, so you know, he's really tight on that stuff. And we just had Brian record the guitars, and then Alex do some yelling.
I thought I didn't need earplugs when Alex was recording, and then when she started screaming, I was like, oh my god, I need earplugs. This is really loud.
Yeah, we were talking about it in there anyway. Earplugs are way more important than people think, just in regular life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So now I wanted to talk about Alex and your art, because you're very artsy. Because you did the cover art for the demo, right? Can you talk about what the image is supposed to be?
Oh, it's a pressed orchid between 2 panes of glass. I
Okay.
just thought that it was kind of relevant for the label of the song, although the orchid was actually pressed from, it's gonna sound so sad, and it has nothing to do with the song, but it's literally a scanned flower, and the flower is from when my cat died,
Aw.
which was in March, R.I.P.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but I like did some like color editing and stuff on it, and added the text and stuff like that. And then also the EP art was done by hand, and that's not like a scanned image, but actually like handmade art
Okay.
when it is released.
Yeah, I guess we specify Austin did not record the EP that we are sitting on. That was with Kevin Bernstein. Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
Kevin Bernstein at Developing Nations, and then Matt from Islet mixed it.
Cool. How long have you been into art? Your whole life, Alex?
Yeah, I would say probably my whole life. I feel like ever since I was like a little kid, and when I was in like grade school and stuff, it was always like my favorite thing.
Yeah, I have a note about that. Do you think school allowed you to express yourself when it comes to art? And y'all can, you know, chime in when it comes to music. You know, do you think that school in general is like pushing the arts like they need to?
I don't know really what it's like nowadays, but I think the schools that I went to had a really good art department, and like my high school, shout out Mr. Whipple, he was my photography teacher. I like loved the dark room for a long time. Like I feel like I don't know, I think it's because it's like a self-reliant thing. It always just resonated with me, and I was left alone a lot because my immigrant parents were working all the time. So I think it was just, I naturally gravitated toward being creative because I could just kind of be in my own world and not have to ask anybody for anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was looking on your art page. I see that you do
Oh.
hand-painted plates.
Oh yeah, sometimes that's like not my main thing, but like
It's really cool, though, I gotta say.
Thanks, yeah.
So how do you go about obtaining the plates that you like to paint
it's
on?
just Goodwill.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just shop Goodwill for like cute patterns and stuff, and that's where I find a lot of inspiration for like my current illustration stuff. Like I do a lot of like floral designs and like references to pottery and ceramics, and I think it's a lot of commentary on like feminism and the experience of being a woman, and like relating to a vessel, and like it sounds so ridiculous like having to explain it, but yeah, I think that's like why I gravitate toward that.
Gotcha.
And it's also something about like housewares, like, you know, you're domesticated but like making it modernized in a way, and like how do you relate to that current day, I guess.
Cool. And then do you want to talk about the design on the Tripper shirts that you made?
Yeah, I guess, so I actually, it's like part found image and part manipulated, but it's from a National Geographic, originally, and, the image really, I think, resonated with me, but all of us, like, because we went through several rounds of artwork.
Yes, we did.
But I like the image a lot because it's also like kind of commentary on like feminism and domesticity, and like it's an image of like a medieval looking woman with like a creepy looking doll and like a crib, and that's why I liked it. But
I thought it looked really cool.
yeah, so I just like manipulated it a bit and added a couple elements and stuff. Yeah.
Cool. I saw there was a Twin Peaks screen print. That's a show, right?
Oh yeah, I was selling like, well, I do still sell screen prints and stuff. I have like one Log Lady print that I did a while ago,
Love
and
some
I'm
Log
doing
Lady.
I'm doing some new series of Twin Peaks prints of like other characters and stuff.
What's that show about? Because I've never seen it.
It's directed by David Lynch. It's
About pie and coffee.
and
murder.
It's about murder, and it's kind of like experimental. It's from the 90s. It's like
Okay.
from like 1990 to 1992 or something. It was like a short run show, and yeah, it's just like super kooky characters and like kind of like psychedelic, and
Oh, the right room.
it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's visually appealing.
And I saw you did 2 designs. One was for Ivy League dogs, and the other
Yeah.
was for Black Metal Pastry Chef.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those two?
Yeah, so Black Metal Pastry Chef, that's Irene. I don't know how to pronounce her last name because I'm pretty sure it's Greek. But she's in New York City. She's also in a really cool band called High Cost. We want to play with them one day. We just have been in touch about that. And then my internet colleague, her name's Sabrina. She owns a dog training company in Canada, and we had been in touch for a while, and she's just my pen pal homie. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what about the Ivy League dogs?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the dog training, that's her.
And-
She does like a holistic, humane approach to training dogs and dog walking. So like no prongs, no like painful
Nice.
like reinforcement. It's all more like positive reinforcement and like yeah, stuff like that.
Cool. And you do tattoos, right?
Yeah, I'm a self-taught tattooer.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been tattooing for the past 3 years.
Do you want to talk about some of the pieces you've done?
Yeah, a lot of it is like the vessels and the floral stuff. That's like my favorite work to produce, but I do a lot of like custom work. Yeah. Stop.
Sorry, I'm 12.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just I do mostly just like line work, and I don't know. I think it resonates for who it resonates for, I guess.
Yeah. And you're available as far as tattooing and then, designing and stuff. You're
I do a
available for
little bit of
commissions.
everything, yeah.
So how do people
dog
reach
walking?
out?
No, not right now. What was that?
How do people reach out to you if they want to get you a commission for something?
My website, it's Alexa Sova, but it's spelled with a W, not a V.
Okay.
And so that's alexasova.com, and then my Instagram, which is Alexa Sova, and that would probably be it.
Gotcha. All right, now Austin. So as far as, and also before we do that too, who are some inspirations for you as far as music goes? I forgot to.
Oh my god. Well, Punch, Gouge Away. God, I feel like once I'm put on the spot, I like freeze up.
It's okay.
I think, I don't know, like as a kid, I always looked up to Garbage, Sonic Youth, and I don't know, there's just so many. I feel like, okay, I'll just list my favorite bands. Alex G, Punch. What?
Fiddle.
And Fiddlehead.
you go.
Thank you for reminding.
Are there any like modern vocalists that inspire you to do what you do?
I really love Christina's vocals on Gouge Away.
No man.
No Man is great, yes. I'm like blanking on all of my inspo right now. I'm so sorry. Like,
No
I should
worries.
have had this prepared.
For some
They're all
reason, like
angry at you.
that's a
know.
real common thing that happens on the podcast. I'll ask about like inspirations or like it'll be like, you know, what rap artist do you like? Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'm trying to think of another vocalist that I just really love, but it's hard for me to think on the spot. But I would say Megan O'Neill is like definitely my inspo for like how I approach vocals.
Cool. All right. Now, if you want to get into your inspirations when it comes to your music playing.
So I listen to a little bit of everything, honestly. When I was learning how to play guitar, I mean, obviously Linkin Park was like the number one. I've quickly got into like hardcore and screamo stuff, so like stuff like Circle Takes the Square, Orchids, Seisha. And honestly, now I listen to like a lot of pop music, but
Okay.
it's not really as much of an inspiration for this band.
Well, give us some examples.
So I listen to like a lot of like Taylor Swift.
Okay,
and,
okay.
Like
Now,
hyper pop too. Like
question
you know,
on Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
What's your honest opinion on like the concert tickets and stuff like that? You know, all the
I
headlines.
have no idea. I
just
never looked into it. Never probably going
Just
to.
you know, the people are paying like insane money.
Oh
you know.
yeah, I
want Ticketmaster?
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I do think,
Live Nation.
and I know some, you know, like people have been talking about a little bit like with the Spotify thing, and you know how the SAG and SAG-AFTRA and stuff like that are on strike right now, and
Yeah.
you know talking about the whole Spotify thing that she did and how she wasn't really looking out for, you know, working class musicians at the same way that she was trying to look out for herself. So I kind of will criticize on that, but I also like, you know, silly pop songs.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you were talking about your inspirations and stuff. You didn't have too much to say outside of that, right?
Yeah, not really.
Okay, and then just what do you like to do outside of music?
So my day job is working commercial building maintenance.
Okay.
Like to play video games, watch movies. But I love watching movies. I also dabble in photography and videography just as a hobby. Yeah, that's about it.
Alright, now Brian, what are some of your inspirations?
I I used to listen to a lot of Every Time I Die.
Okay,
R.I.P.
nice.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But shout out to Better Lovers because they're killing it right now. Love a lot of like post rock, like This Will Destroy You, Explosions in the Sky, a little bit of shoegaze with like Nothing and Whir. I was actually really out of the hardcore scene when I started playing with Michael. So he's actually been the one go-to for new bands. So like, really got into like the local band Jive Bomb here from Baltimore.
Hell
they were
yeah.
actually really sick. That was when we went to that show at Frijoles. But he got me turned on to Gulch, which has been a big inspiration. There was one of our songs was kind of like a Gulch inspired song as well too. And even recently with like Gouge Away, especially now that they're coming back, it's going to be really cool to go see them. But a lot of those, I used to listen to a lot of like, unfortunately, a lot of like hard, like metalcore from like Hot Topic like era back in the day.
Oh, yeah, so did
was
I.
very guilty of that. And then I kind of like branched out a little bit, but I'd probably say more the newer like who was I listening to? Like Tsunami would probably be like some like band that I'd probably want to like try to write a song like very recently as well too.
Cool. And as far as hobbies goes, I saw on Instagram recently you were like, is it canoeing that you were doing?
It was kayaking.
Kayaking, yeah. So like when I typed in kayak, I don't think that emoji came up. I think when I
Yeah.
typed in canoe. Either way, so if you want to talk about that, I saw you were shooting some guns. You have like motorcycles and just getting out in nature and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I love outdoors. Love to go camping. I've been doing that since I was a little kid. The one big thing I really love to do with the bros is to go motorcycle camp. Yeah, with the bros. Go motorcycle camping where we'll take everything on our motorcycle.
Oh my goodness!
Oh
Oh, you're good. Keep talking.
So yeah, we'll go camping on our motorcycles. We'll bring everything with us. We'll go out for a weekend for like 3 solid days and just disconnect and hang out, ride our bikes, go camping out in the woods, and then I'll do that regularly with my friends and my dad. We'll go camping, and every once in a while we'll go kayaking, and we'll do the whole West Virginia thing where we just sit by a fire, drink some beer, and shoot some guns.
Hell yeah, nice. And then Michael, do you want to talk about your inspirations?
Yeah. So my all-time favorite band is probably Hot Water Music.
Okay.
I've been like, I am an old guy, and I like saw them back when they were touring like the album Caution in like 2001. But they have been actually my favorite band for like 20-ish years. And as I listen to like exclusively besides that like old hardcore music back in the day, which probably did not help me with my drumming. Like I can play fast, but it wasn't until like probably the last 10 or so years when I started really practicing like every day and like listening to a lot more talented drummers that I've been able to like up my game and my playing. But recently, like the drummer of Fiddlehead, like his playing is probably, I wouldn't say it's necessarily been a huge influence on my playing in this band, but like he is an extremely unique drummer. Like I love his playing. As far as this band, like I think when I was posting about trying to start a band, it was like really like a lot of like femme-fronted bands where like I'm really into the band No Man from DC.
Okay.
We've become a little friendly with them. Like they're very cool people.
Cool.
Otherwise, like listen to a lot of Gulch, which I'm sure a lot of people have been, and also just getting a lot deeper into Converge's discography has been really good. Ed Queller is probably the best drummer on the planet, so it's like just kind of ingesting that and trying to like even do a portion of what he does is inspiring.
Gotcha. I saw you're show lister for the Baltimore Show Space, right?
Show Place.
Show Place.
The old one was Show Space, the one I copied when they ended it. So
Okay, so do you just want to talk about what you do with that?
Yeah, so I started it so there was originally Show Space, which was a Tumblr that listed the shows every week, a lot of DIY stuff.
Okay.
So when they stopped that in like 2018, and then City Paper also ended, so there was no calendar for Baltimore concerts. So I just, since I had been in the scene for so long, I just took it upon myself, and I also am like very, very organized, and I have the time. So I started in the summer of 2019. It's just a Tumblr. Originally, that was just the list of every single concert for the entire month, every DIY show, going from Ram's Head to house shows.
Wow.
And then I also made a database of every single band in Baltimore that I could possibly find.
Nice.
Most of the venues with like information about that. So when people are like, "Hey, I want to book a show in Baltimore," I'm like, "Here's literally everything you need. Here's every band, every venue. You don't need to like be in the know. You don't need to ask for favors."
Right.
And then I started the Instagram for it like 2 years ago, and I have been extremely surprised how it's grown. Like,
Definitely, yeah. It's like over 6,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I thought like maybe 1,000 people would follow it, but and it's just like kept growing. So I'm like, this is cool. So
Well, you were providing a service that we didn't have that we needed, so I mean that's kind of the key to success in any facet. Even if it's music, it's like doing your own thing is what makes you big, I feel like.
yeah.
So how do people, I guess, get in touch with you as far as, you know, or anybody else as far as getting, you know,
They can-
promoted on there, stuff like that?
They can message me through the Instagram. There's a email listed on the Tumblr. However people want to do it. So
Okay.
yeah.
And do you want to shout out those handles real quick?
It's Balt Showplace at Instagram, and then baltshowplace.tumblr. And you can get to the Tumblr through the Instagram. So on the Instagram, I post just weekly shows and flyers, but the Tumblr's the entire month. So if
Okay.
you want to like plan ahead.
And what else do you like to get into outside of music?
Well, I go to a lot of concerts, and when I'm not doing concerts and drumming, I am obsessively reading science fiction.
Okay, cool.
It's a very cool hobby.
Nerd.
Awesome. So that was all the notes that I had. You guys just want to quickly shout out your upcoming shows and any other announcements, shout outs, anything you want to mention. It's your floor.
We're playing a house show in St. Mary's tomorrow.
Yes.
We're invited by Ripley Void, which is a great band from down there. Consumer Culture's playing. There's another band I've not heard of that is playing as well. And then next week, we're playing the Beer Beatdown Barbecue Festival at Key Brewing in Dundalk.
Hell
Which is
yeah.
going to have Redacted, Trash Diva, Space Lumberjacks, which I saw them there last time and they were awesome. So it's going to be wrestling, hardcore and metal music, and
Definitely a cool event.
yeah. So that's next Saturday, the 29th. And then we have a show in September at the Compound with Islet again. And then we have some other stuff planned.
And crowning.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Crowning. Yeah. Then we have some other stuff that's in the works right now.
Cool. Anything else, anybody?
Thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. This
ah.
has been great.
All right.
Thank